Alrighty, so I just finished week 12 grading, and I really have to say, many of you had a very like one way or the other opinion about coding. So I totally understand that, and and I really appreciate those who really actually gave it some thought, and those actually everyone, but specifically the posts where people really gave it some thought and looked at the site, looked at code.org or Code Academy or Free Code Camp. So as I've said before, this is my area, so I really enjoy those comments. And I want to say this because some of you, I wrote it to you directly, is that, if you ever want to talk about this either for yourselves or for somebody in your life, this is the kind of stuff that I think I'm probably pretty good at, is helping, steer you in directions. Because there are many resources, as that post talked about. So let me end this week by saying this, which is that we are going to have a coding experience in the last week of this class. So just know that if you felt a little like, oh my God, intimidated, I will be walking you through the code that you have to write. I will be giving you examples and talking about it at that point. But just know that that's part of this class, is to at least give you an experience like that. And for those of you that want to learn more, I hope I see you. Like, I teach, as I've said, Python, JavaScript. I teach machine learning a year from now. So also introduction to web development, and of course 15, which I just started teaching recently. So I'm going to roll up week 12 now that it's done. And you all are, I've already done 13. So we're really talking about 14. So here's the thing I want you to know about this week, is that this week is going to feel a little heavier as far as the items, because here's what happens normally. And I say normally meaning the way we've done it in the past, because this is our third and last lab test. Although the coding experience, I believe, falls in that lab category. But for us, the My IT lab experiences, this is the last one. And normally when we do them, we only do that and we do the next topic in the My IT lab. So after Access, which you have the hands-on this week, you will have PowerPoint, but you also have a discussion and a chapter quiz. So I just want you to know that, and part of the reason this is just working out to make sure we cover all the required content. And I think you would probably rather have this earlier rather than towards the end of the semester, because I try to kind of start to scale down towards the end. To give you a chance to complete that final, which somebody, I think it was Maria, asked me about the final, and there was a post out on Discord. It's not too late to join Discord if you want. So let me just say this. Last week's discussion, or the start here, the attendance post, I asked you, did you have access? And that's because this week you're going to need it. And I even posted in that week 13 the video that I've talked about at the beginning for Mac students, because you cannot run Microsoft Access on your Mac natively. You have to actually load a piece of software and then load Windows, and then you can do it. Okay, so having alternatives this week, if you're on a Mac, if you don't want to go through that process, which by the way, I think is good to do, but waiting till the last minute, maybe not so good. So just to go back and talk about again the process. So this is what you get when you click on the lab test, right? So if you click on the Access Mid-Level 3 Small Business Only, it says PC only, okay? So it tries to give you a hint. When you click on that, remember the process, right? So the process is you download a file and some instruction. You work on your local computer, you upload that. That is then scored by the My IT lab, or actually you upload it and then you submit it for grading. So the last step. So download, work on it locally, upload, right? And then submit for grading. And then once you submit for grading, you actually get a detailed list of feedback of items that you may have missed. And what you can do, because a couple of you missed this, is you can go back to your file, fix those things, and go through this process of uploading. You can do it up to 3 times. So you don't have to start over. If you've missed something, you start from the place in the file, that file that you have locally. Okay. So here's the concept too. So when you submit for grading, if you're like, done, I'm good with that score, go ahead and create the PDF. Unlike the My IT work that we've done, you don't have to calculate a score because it's worth 100 points in the system. So just give us the percentage that you got. Okay, because when it gives you a score, it's going to give you a percentage. So two things: once you go through this process, download, work on the assignment, upload, submit for grading. If you're done, right? If you don't want, if you good with the score, right? If you're not, go do this, complete this, look at the feedback. But once you get the score you want, go in and create the PDF, put that PDF in Canvas and report to me your percentage. That's how you do it. Okay. Okay, so again, it's our last lab test of the semester for the My IT lab stuff. You do have the chapter quiz and the PowerPoint, and I'll make sure. Well, let's just go look. I believe I put this available for you to work on, but if I didn't, I will do it by the time you get close to this week as well. And I did, right? So in here, we're going to finish out by doing, I think, 2 PowerPoints, right? Training and exams, and those will work as far as scoring like all the other items we've done. And we do not have a lab test related to PowerPoint. Okay, so social media and the quiz. The quiz is no different than what we've had. Somebody did ask me, and this was Maria, so I just think it's worth saying right now. The final for this class will be based off of these chapter quizzes. You will have a randomly selected 150 questions from all the quizzes we've covered, and that will be your final for this class. And I'll release it at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before the end of the semester, so that, if you want to work ahead, you can, but it will be the last thing due in this class. But the thing I want you to it will end with here is talking about social media. And, you know, there's so many good things that come out of social media. And because it is, how do I say this? And I think this video actually says it better than I could anyway, right? But understanding, right? Have you been exposed to misinformation? We've kind of covered this when I had you do the looking at something you've seen and done some research. So this is kind of similar in that vein, right? And talking about the filter bubbles, right? Because sometimes one of the things I like to do on YouTube, because YouTube will, based on what you watch, it will recommend things that they think you will like. And I tend to go counter to the things that it thinks I want to watch. And I like confusing it. It's kind of fun to see it serve up to me things that I'm like, you tried to understand that. But I also think the idea of getting out of your social bubble, right? We often just hear things that confirm our own beliefs versus maybe being exposed to things that might challenge that. I find that to be really beneficial because it helps me understand other people. Not that I have to agree with them, but at least makes me understand where they're coming from. Right. So, and in this case, you can choose, right, 2 of these to answer. Now, remember again, these are narrative writings, right? These are also substantive writings. And one of the things from week 12 is a couple of you saw me post, make sure you're writing substantive. And it's not about, and it may feel like this about length, it's about how well you've thought, how much thought and consideration and understanding did you give this topic. That's what I look for in your post, right? And as always, right, make sure you reply to at least one person here. If you want full credit, right, that's what you have to do. Because this is really a conversation when you can see other people's experience of this, right? And the chat is, I think, a good way to simulate that idea of being in a classroom. Not the best way, but it's a way to do it. Okay, so that's where we're at in week 14, which really means we're on the homeward stretch. right? So week 15, course feedback, a next lab, so a little lighter, of course, next week. And then here we are, week 16. That's where it's at. Week 16 is the JavaScript lab, the one that where you do some coding. That'll be in week 16. And then week 17 is the final. That's all you have during that week. Do keep in mind as well, and this is a concept I will leave you with. I do allow students to submit late work, right? But the last time you can do that is December 9th. Oh, that's wrong. I got to make it for this semester. So it'll be the Wednesday of this semester, which in this case, the final is due on the 19th. I believe that is Wednesday. I'll double check that. So that's the other thing is the final is due in the middle of the week, not on a Monday, right? So you'll want to keep that in mind. But I'll talk more about that as we move forward. So have a great week. It's beautiful in California. A lot of friends I know are doing hiking right now. Hiking is a wonderful activity. If you want any hiking recommendations, let me know. I've hiked quite a bit of the local Central Valley hikes and beyond, but hiking is one of my favorite activities. So peace out.